Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Once again, a very good morning to all of you. At the same time, wishing you many blessings in this new year, 2024. And I understand that this is the first time that Satya Sambodhyala Buddhist Society conducting this kind of a talk, at the same time a blessing ceremony for the New Year from the Gregorian calendar, not for the Chinese New Year. So I hope that this tradition will continue, probably in the new center next year, if possible. If you plant the Dhamma seed, well, if others join, if this is going to be a very cooperative donation drive, I hope that you'll be having this same ceremony next year, 2025, in your new center. So today, after the puja and blessings, I will be speaking at this point a topic which is very relevant actually to all of us. Relevant, timely, and then undoubtedly the best motivation, and then I would say inspiration, motivation, and then the key thing in our life to continue as a good person, which is gratitude. But today we'll be discussing finding and practicing gratitude in the new year. Right? So before all that, I wanted to say thank you to the society for inviting me, Brother Bjorn and Sister. I couldn't remember your name.
Penny.
Sister Penny. You are the president of the society. Yes, and all the other members, devotees, well-wishers who joined today. So let me ask you now, how do we understand gratitude from a Buddhist point of view? This is very interesting. Now, gratitude. We have to be grateful. How do you normally think about gratitude? Or maybe a proper question might be, what does gratitude mean to us? Maybe to you. Anybody?
Gratitude to the parents.
The first thing that comes to our mind is being grateful to our parents for whatever they've been doing to us, good things. I hope that everyone's parental, the relationship is a smooth one. Perhaps some people don't have a smooth one. You don't have to worry about it. But considering mother and father are special people in our life are two things in our Dhamma path. It is not just being grateful to them. If I make it more simple, if you follow the Buddha's path, which is called the Noble Eightfold Path, in the Noble Eightfold Path there are 8 path factors. The first path factor is about right view. Because without the view, you cannot understand what to do. But views are very dangerous actually today. So political views, social views, personal views. This is my way, this is your way. I don't care your way, I know. Views. I think often the cause of many problems since the morning in household. Right? I mean, if there are people who can come to an agreement, who can at least tolerate what other people feel, think, I think it's going to be a good match. Going beyond the body-wise, emotional, mental, perspective-wise. That's why the Buddha said, if you want to make a relationship with anybody, either romantic or platonic, you need to consider about 4 things: samasaddha, samasila, samachaga, samapanya. That means the person that you are going to be with should have an equal trust. I mean, not overly suspecting you. There are people who are suspecting even you just look the other way. What are you doing? Because there are so much suspicions, doubts about the other person. Although they are together, but they haven't come to a certain level of fruition in their trust. That's going to be a little difficult, uncomfortable, right? So, sama saddha means we need, especially those partners, especially they need an equal, at least to a certain level of trust between each other. Then samasila, discipline. Right? You are respecting the other person. So that discipline. It's not just going to a temple and take precept on a full moon day and then going back to the same thing. Like some people say in the West, they go very high in a retreat, but when they come home, they fall back to the earth. There's no connection, right? Either they are escaping from the household, right? Either they are liking something very sophisticated. In Buddhism, we are not supposed to run away from problems. If you go for a retreat just to evade the household, there may be situations like that. But if you do it normally, that's not the Buddhist way. Because you fall back to the earth after. So, equal discipline. And then the third one is samachaga, equal generosity. They both are very generous. Right? Very generous people. And then the fourth one is samapanya. They have a certain matching level of wisdom. This is a very loaded word in English, wisdom. Different other people define wisdom in their own ways, right? But wisdom in this understanding means that you have something more than intelligence. Now, these students, we all go to if you go to university, if you study, you are acquiring knowledge from professors, lecturers, books, right? On different online places. That is knowledge. It's the mere knowledge. Then you have to bring that knowledge into a further layer. We call it intelligence. Right? You rationalize what you learn. Even this Dhamma talk, you have to rationalize, not take it as it is. That is not going to be working for you. It's like some people, they write down notes, take down notes, record, voice record. But the Dhamma seed is not going to be planted in their life. Because you have to plant it. You may carry the knowledge back home, but you are not planting. You have, how many seeds you've been bringing you home? Huh? After Sutta discussion, Dhamma talks, not Dana actually, in particular, this intellectualized version of, philosophical version of Buddhism. You bring and you leave the seed somewhere. You don't plant it. How to plant it? You have to water it. You have to nurse it. That means you have to practice it. Practice. Otherwise, you are just filling up your knowledge with bunch of knowledge stuff. Right? Then you are going to be like Bhante Ananda. Bhante Ananda, the Buddha's minister monk, always with him. He knows everything. He knows all the suttas. He knows, he memorizes. He can tell you A to Z. But there is no practice. Then because I don't have time to practice, I have to take care of the Buddha. Right? I hope you're not going to be that kind of a person, because now you have the Dhamma. At the same time, you have to make your time, make your environment to practice. So, the wisdom to a relationship means that then they are rationalizing what they know. At the same time, they are making wise, better decisions between them. So, in this way, views, as I said, going back to views. So, views are fundamentally dangerous and always creating a problem. Why did the Buddha say we have to have a certain view? Actually, he doesn't want to create views. He doesn't want us to create views. But now, we need a framework to start off. Let's say, if you know the road to go, sometimes you know the road, but you still depend on Waze, GPS, right? Why is it? You need a sort of road map, right? You need a sort of guidance. That's why the Buddha said, a healthy, wholesome view is important. In that healthy, wholesome view, taking care of your mom and dad are mandatory. It's not just a part of they did something to me, so I had to pay back. Something beyond that thing. Something beyond. Then this gentleman told me it's about parents. So what are the how do others understand gratitude in your own life? Something different than parents. What does gratitude mean to you? Because we are looking at finding and practicing gratitude, gratitude for New Year. Anybody else? Appreciate what you have. That's a good thing. But are we always doing that? We do, but then again we don't do. Why is it? Because our primitive parts of the brain are always giving us a very hard time in staying on to that thought. Let's say somebody is very much generous to us, and maybe we have been benefited from other people, but still, time to time, our thoughts are, working according to the primitive parts of the brain. The primitive parts of the brain are automatic. That means now the brain has primitive parts of the areas, which means there are automatic thought reactions to other things. Let's say you know that somebody really did something to you, good stuff, but when things go on a very different slippery slope, then you are not thinking about that particular help. You are going to react to that person, probably, because reactions are automatic. In Buddhism, we have responses. We have to think. It's like somebody sent you a bad email. Of course, you don't get such emails. Huh? Let's say an utter criticism about you, maybe something that is really touching your character, maybe your behavior. What if you write back, reply to the same email as soon as you can? Will you write good stuff to that email? Mostly not. What if you take 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, maybe one day, if you write the reply on the next day, how would you mostly respond?
My character is the same.
But mostly, if you take time, you will heal a lot. Mostly, I'm not talking about one individual, mostly. We have to pause, take a pause. Because we are habituated by those automatic thoughts. The people who can hold on to those kind of very strong views could be they might be behavioral people in a way. At the same time, most of them may have a hard time in understanding what to do, because we are meant to defend us all the time. When somebody tells us something, no, I'm correct, you are wrong. This being correct and being incorrect, good and bad, is what is happening within us all the time. So we're going to react. Of course, there are times that we have to do it in a better, proper, healthier way. But we have to always also understand what's going on. So, appreciating what you have. Can you share with us what people normally have and how they should be appreciative about them? Maybe food, maybe shelter, maybe medicine, maybe things to appreciate. Is there anybody else who views gratitude in a different way? Yes.
Gratitude is not something and not an emotion or thought where you can impose on yourself and be happy. But I think gratitude can arise at any moment, any opportunity, any time. Then from that gratitude, when it arises from your thought of gratitude, then you
Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it also. Gratitude can be a teaching moment.
If you want to show your gratitude, you just can't. It must arise, then you will respond.
Mm. Yeah. So gratitude can be a teaching moment to us. Whenever things are happening, we can always go back. Remember, I think there was a true story. One monk told me in the US. There was a family, a Thai family, who was distributing food in a drug addicted area, in LA area, maybe, drug addicted. So one day, this lady actually, she was with her probably workers, go to that area time to time, then they distribute the food. After some time, this restaurant of the lady was nearly robbed actually. Actually, they even going to use the guns to do something. So some of them were part of those drug addicts. But one person recognized this lady. And they said, "Oh, don't do anything, because she gave food to us." Right? So that gratitude came up. It triggered. So when you are helping many people, even you are going to have lots of narrow escapes in your life. Because people remember you. People, like if you are a good person, you might be a good person to you, but you might not do anything for other people in a careful, safe way. So there are many things to think about. As you mentioned, it's a good teaching moment. All right. So gratitude can span over many subjects. Now, in our life, we are primarily grateful to our mother and father. Then we are grateful to our teachers. We are grateful to many other people. At a certain time of our life, we are grateful to our human birth. Can you show us the stanza, the Dhammapada stanza that you mentioned in the flyer today? This is the stanza that Brother Bjorn asked me, to have a discussion about, talk about the gratitude. You can see Dhammapada 182. I think the stanza goes like this. It means rare is the birth as a human being. That means we have to be grateful to our. What are we going to be grateful for this? By looking at this first line. Our good karma that made us to become humans. Now when you hear some Dhamma talks, are we that evil? Huh? You're going to be to hell, if you don't do dana, you're going to be born in hell. Really. Do more dana, do more dana. That might not be a good narrative. Maybe I get a new mic. Better, yeah. So, the one narrative that we hear sometime, not from many, is that, like, compared to another religion, that you are bornly evil, you have no karma, you are kind of an empty soul, empty person, so you have to do more good karma to be reborn as a human. We are already humans, aren't we? We are already humans. That means we knew it. We had known it at that time. And we had done an enormous good karma to become a human. So I think the rest will be okay. I mean, you don't have to struggle. Just continue your Dhamma path. You don't have to be differently feared about it. Now, how many people are feared on the 1st of January, today, by making resolutions? They are making resolutions. They are not open-ended. They are close-ended. Before 365 days, I had to achieve that one. Right? I had to achieve this goal. I had to hit this goal. But unfortunately, not a lot of people making that happen. Because most of the goals are not self-based. Other people also have to involve. They are not involving just as we think to be so. So, we have to be very grateful to the good karma, massive, I think it's not a good karma, normal good karma, massive, enormous good karma which made us become human beings. So it is rare, hard to become a human. Right? At the same time, there is a wrong notion going on about this from a wrong reading, misreading of a sutta. Alright? Probably I can write down certain things. I have a pen and paper, right? Okay. Which one is better, blue color or black one?
Try black.
Black. Okay. Good. There is a sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya called Bala Pandita Sutta. I cannot remember the MN number, but you can find it out. In this sutta, the Buddha clearly says that being reborn, or the ability, the potential to be reborn as a human is very, very, very rare for the apayas, people in the apayas. That means Naraka, Tirakchana, Peta, Asuras. Naraka means all the hells, Tirakchana means animals, Peta means ghost, including hungry ghost, and then Asura means demons. Not for the existing human beings. But they may be going to hell, maybe, we don't know, but the potential is way, way higher than these beings. For these beings to be reborn as a human being is very, very difficult. Unless they may have done a good karma in a past life. Take for instance a cat or another animal. They are not very much intentional about what they are doing, right? I mean, let's say a crane is eyeing on a fish in a lake, probably looking at the still water, but the crane catches it. You might see, what an evil animal is that? They are natural instincts, but they don't know what they are doing. That is the problem. But we know what we are doing. So, being reborn as a human is very, very rare for these beings. The Buddha gives an example. The example is, there's a one-eyed blind turtle, right? One-eyed blind turtle. He's in the ocean. He comes out of the ocean to the surface every 100 years. And then there is a part of the yoke which has been used by the farmers in the paddy fields. This yoke has been left by some farmers. This yoke is flushed onto water streams and come to rivers and come to the ocean. You think about the rare occurrence of this. If when the one-eyed blind turtle comes out of the water, what if that yoke, which has which is like a pipe thing, yoke also going to come to the one-eyed turtle's visible eye, and then the one-eyed blind turtle is going to look up through that yoke. That's such a very rare, very, very rare coincidence. So the potential for these beings to be reborn as a human is as such. The one-eyed blind turtle is to come out of the ocean every 100 years, and at the same time, the yoke is to come to his visible eye. But who knows, the cats, these animals must have done a lot of good karmas in a past life. So they might come. So I just want to give some relief for you. The relief is that you have done enormous karma. Don't worry. Now what you need to do is just continue your Dhammacharya. That's it. Nothing to be worried. Those hellish things, anything, those ghosts, those animals, because you have already crossed that area. But if you are doing more akusalas, there may be a chance of being reborn as a hellish being. All right, because there's another thing. I am quoting a very interesting point. I'm not quoting Abhidhamma. In Abhidhamma, it says that when you do any akusala, unwholesome activity, through lobha, dosa, moha, there are 4 universal akusala qualities attached to that particular action. Let's say you do one akusala, there are 4 other akusalas attached to that one akusala. Let's say you have anger, then moha, ahirika, anuttappa, uddacca. Because you are angry, because you are disillusioned. You lack the clarity of that particular moment. You're getting angry because you have no moral shame. And you getting angry because you have no fear of the morality. And you getting angry because your mind is restless. So that means these 4 are automatically attached to that one particular akusala. That means when you do an akusala, according to Abhidhamma, you creating another 4 akusalas. 5 akusalas in a row. Then, the interesting thing, when you do a kusala, now these are automatic 4 things that are attached to you in one akusala. When you do a kusala, one kusala, there are 19 kusalas are attached to that. That's why you think about on a day, now if you look at yesterday, or maybe the day before yesterday, maybe the whole year, if you are going to be honest to yourself, are you doing more kusalas over akusalas, or are you doing more akusalas over kusalas on a day? Just be honest to you. I mean, your natural thoughts.
Between kusala and akusala, you cannot contra, isn't it? You can contra or not?
No, I'm not saying to contrast. I'm asking you the raw thoughts about what is happening within you and other people. What are coming more? Are they kusalas or are they akusalas? Normally, maybe you might manage yourself. Let's say you have low, but you will get it over. But I'm asking, what are mostly coming out from your thoughts? Huh? Akusala. Be honest. Be honest. You like people, you like food, you like everybody. Then when things don't happen, you are angry, you irritated, you annoyed. This is the hard truth. Then, I'm going to show you something very interesting. When you have even one akusala, lobha or dosa or moha, you are bringing another 4 akusalas to that particular akusala. But when you do one kusala, maybe dana, maybe metta, you bringing another 19 kusalas onto them. 20. That's why you see even when people do things, even in the stories, they are reborn as humans. They are reborn as devas because their one kusala is more powerful than these akusalas. Now don't think that I can do akusalas and do one kusala. That's a wrong understanding. Alright, so now you will understand the structure behind being born as a human being. Right? So for us, we are very blessed, but don't take it for granted. Do more kusalas, because every time you make a kusala, you are bringing another 19 kusalas onto that one kusala. That means if you do more kusalas, you can neutralize, mitigate these things. Because you might see that if somebody is not doing anything from outside, you might think this is a good person. No. What is happening in their mentality, state of mind? Alright, the second is difficult is the life of mortals. Mortals. Who is a mortal? Huh? It's a bit Protestant English word. Huh? It's a British mortals. Those human beings who are going to die one day. We are mortals. Mortality. We are eligible to be mortals already. Now you are already a human being. But do you see any differences between you and some other person or among other people? Yes. Some people getting cancer when they are in 20, diabetic early, stress, other problem, mental, most of the issues, family issues, divorce, maybe the good side, bad side, they are having lots of things in their life. Then the problem is sustaining onto that human life is more difficult than getting the human life. More difficult. I'm not talking about 100 years life. Right? Sometimes you will live up to 100 but with so much problem. Somebody might live for 70 or 60 with good quality of that life. People around them are very good, they are happy, right? We have to die anyways. Even we know Buddhism or not, we have to die, right? Definitely, it's not a thing to think about. But it's not about 100 years old. It's about the sustenance of life. Now, if you look at the Buddha and the stories, you will see that some disciples of the Buddha were surfacely better than the Buddha in terms of age. Now, some Arahants lived 160, right? 120 years old, 100. Buddha only 80. And then sometimes Buddha didn't have dana, especially on a Vassana time. Right? Nowadays people are very much into giving dana. During the once there was a pair of two horse trainers. So they invited Buddha to take Vassa, but they forgot the invitation. They forgot. So Buddha had to somehow manage the food. So for the 3 months, he could not have dana. He ate the horse food. So he was not that blessed compared to one monk, Sivali. So it is said that every time he goes for Pindapata, he is looking back, is Sivali here? He knows that the Pindapata is going to be great. Yes, because some monks have done lots of good karmas in certain ways. Not in the Buddha's different ways. And remember the Mahakassapa story? There was one monk called Mahakassapa who was the leader after Buddha passed away in a way. It is said that Arahant Mahakassapa and the Buddha are very similar in appearance. So there was a lady who used to offer dana to Arahant Mahakassapa. And then on that road, one day the Buddha went earlier. So she didn't know, she didn't realize. She thought this is that monk. And then she offered all the dana to. That means Buddha is not having the aura, lights, like, lucky, it's not here. Those sophisticated things, we will do. Buddha is not like that. These were added at the time of Gandhara Buddhism. We call Greco-Buddhism after the Kanishka. Ashoka's time, after Ashoka's time. So then the devotee offered to the Buddha. If she knew that, if she had known that she offered to the Buddha, living Buddha, how much she would have been happy. But then after, probably sometime after, then she sees the familiar monk coming. Right? She thought, oh, I made a mistake. I have no food. And she went back to the other monk. See? Bhante, this food for the other monk. So, and then the Buddha gave the bowl, the Pindapata bowl. And then she took the food and then offered to the Arahant Mahakassapa. Arahant Mahakassapa was trying to see who is the monk behind him, ahead of him. He was very unhappy. He was very sad about what happened. That same day, he left the temple. He went to the forest. Then he made a determination, I will come back only when the Buddha passed away. What does it mean? There were other disciples who were more blessed in certain ways than the Buddha. Karma is like that. So, though you got the human life, the sustenance, maintenance of the human life might be more difficult than them. So, a life where you have healthy eyes, healthy ears, like healthy stuff, and then the good karmas to receive things, good karmas to be surrounded by good people, kalyana mitras, such a blessed life. So that is more difficult than becoming a human being. The third is, hard is the opportunity to hear the Dhamma. So I think this is going gradual. Huh? This is more difficult than this one. This is more difficult than the first two. And this is more difficult than the previous three. Yeah, that's how it goes. It's gradual. Hard is the opportunity to hear the Dhamma. Is it hard? It's just in one click, how many internet Buddhists are there? Just go to the sutras, I know everything. Huh? This sutta, that sutta, this sutta. Can you learn Dhamma like that? Yes, they are assisting us. In order for you to learn the Dhamma, you must have a good teacher. Because they are experts. They have not studied the translation. They have studied more than the translation. They have the practice. And they know. At the same time, this Dhamma means the true Dhamma. True Dhamma. True Dhamma. Why is it? Nowadays you might see a lot of opinions of the Dhamma. Translations of the Dhamma. You have to read Dhamma from the original suttas. Carefully. With the support of somebody who knows it. Otherwise you will catch up from somebody's personal opinions about the Dhamma. That's very dangerous. The Buddha said if you learn the wrong Dhamma, if you learn the Dhamma in the wrong way, it is like you are going to catch a cobra in the wrong place. Now think about how serious is that. So then the Buddha said, then better not to study Dhamma. You're not catching the cobra. Right? The cobra is there, you don't catch him. You just stay like a normal person. Right? But if you're going to catch the cobra, you have to catch it in the right place. If you catch from the head, you're going to be bitten. Catch from the tail, also be bitten. Then the Buddha says what a snake catcher can do using a stick, trying to press down a certain place of the cobra, and then professionally catching the snake. Dhamma is as such. So don't misunderstand Dhamma was related to a cobra. It is not the Dhamma. It is about the approach, the way how you're going to understand. Right? It is like when the Buddhist centers are promoting that we have to charge from the people who come to the center. But not for the Dhamma, but for the cost, ancillary cost. The electricity people will not do a reduction to your electricity bill, not do a reduction to your water bill. So they are charging for the ancillary cost, not for the Dhamma. Right? In the same way, you understand, you have to learn the Dhamma in the right way. That means, that is hard. There are lots of opinionated Dhammas everywhere, but to learn the true Dhamma is hard. It's very rare. Right? Going beyond the opinions. And then the rare is the appearance of the Buddhas, Samma Sambuddha. Yeah, that's pretty rare, but we are still blessed to, have some learning. So, when you look at this stanza, you will see that all these are factors to be grateful if you have them. Now you are a human being. You should be very grateful to the karma which made you a human being. And for the second, difficult is the life of mortals. How do we do that? Now this gentleman told me that we have to appreciate what we have. We do sometimes, we don't do most of the time. Why is it? We don't bring them back to our head, our thoughts. Every time you think that, if you can think about what you have, how many people have helped you, then it is easy for you to overcome a lot of unnecessary thoughts, negativities. So, it's another place to be grateful. And then the Dhamma, right? It is such a grateful thing. You are grateful to the places, teachers, everything. And then the Buddha's appearance. Now, I'm going to talk about this gratitude, this overall gratitude that you see in this stanza in our life, in particular for the new year. Now, oftentimes on the 1st of January, what do people make? They make normally, what are they making? Resolution. They're going to resolve certain things. Now I conducted a one-day retreat at a branch of a foreign university here, and then asked them to write down what they achieved and what they would achieve. So most of the things that they said, they are young people, teenagers, they were resolutions.
No wishes, sir.
Huh?
Wishes.
We're coming down to that now after. Resolutions. So somebody said, I'm a bit fat. I have to cut down on my weight. It's good, huh? But will that happen in 1 month? That's a long journey. When you go to a personal trainer, it will take some time. And, there are certain things that not only them, most of them make about their resolutions. Normally, the problem with the resolution could be that this is very time specific. So when you cannot make it happen within a certain time period, now of course they want to hit it before 2025, and by the end of December 31st this year, then they're going to be scared of why they couldn't do it, and they might not be able to do it in 2025 too. So according to Buddhism, rather than making a resolution, we advise to do an aspiration. This is not the best, but at least better. Now, aspiration, now the word itself means kind of breathing onto your dreams. It is a close-ended. It is not a close-ended, it's an open-ended one, which means there's no time-specific thing. Wishes also a part of this aspiration. Now, we did aspiration, nah? Let me ask you, what was the aspiration we did today morning? That's good. That's good to get started this. Yes. Huh? Yeah, you attended already. No, I mean, during our chanting, our puja, we made an aspiration. What was it? Don't read the books, huh? I don't need to think about. What was it?
Not to follow the foolish.
Not to follow the fool. I think most.
Aspiration in happiness, good health, and a good year to come.
The aspiration we had was part of the puja, in a stanza, gatha.
Vimana.
Finally, yes. But what was it? Now you don't remember it. So how are we going to carry this new year? We giantly get together. We're going to have a fellowship, Dhamma talk. So if you cannot remember our aspiration we made today, just half an hour ago. Not to follow the fool. We'll make it a little clear. The gatha is Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Okay, I can flip it. So this way. I'm going to translate. Imina punya kammena. Punya kammena, this good karma. Listening to Dhamma, bringing dana and all that. Imina means this punya karma, good karma. Then mame bala samagamu. Starts writing. And this one. Me. Bala. Samagamu. So I kind of decombine the words. Ma means, in Pali, what does ma mean?
By the grace of the merit, final.
Ma means no. In Pali, ma means no. Recently, a group of teenagers asked me that we are looking for a kind of a rubric, kind of a wording for their boot camp. So they were asking that from what you call environmental aspects. I said, Marukkang. So they made a T-shirt out of it. Behind is Marukkang with trees. Don't cut trees. The Buddha said, Buddha said, Vanang chindata ma rukkang. Cut the jungle of your defilements, but not the real trees. Interesting, huh? In Dhammapada. Vanang chindata ma rukkang vanato jayati bhaya. The Buddha said, cut the jungle, forest of your negative, what you call defilements, kilesas, but not the actual tree. So ma means no. No. Ma means, maybe to me, bala means unwise. Let's catch up a civilized word, not catch up foolish. Unwise. Unwise people. Unwise. So it's a bit civilized, cultured in a way. And samagamo means company. May I have no companionship to unwise people. Who are the unwise people? We have to understand who are they. Who is a foolish person to you in your own way? Maybe an unwise person to you. We have to understand that clearly from the suttas. Unwise people have to be understood in three ways. Pay attention to this clearly. The person who always thinks bad thoughts, greed, destroy other people, bad views, bad thinking, bad thoughts. The person who always speaks bad words, who is always lying to us, who is always talking behind us, we talk to us very nicely, but go somewhere and then talk against us, those kind of people. So, bad words have four types. Lying, carrying tales, or I would say talking behind the back. And then the third one is harsh speech. When an unwise person speaks, always hurting other people. Hurting himself, herself, hurting other people, hurting family, hurting the country, hurting everybody. Because he or she is not managing, doesn't know how to manage, filter out. Right? The fourth one is gossiping. That fellowship shouldn't be another gossiping, which is going to happen at 12. Gossiping. What is this gossiping? Well, I mean, you can have a chit chat, There's no problem. You get together, each other. But gossiping in the sense of wasting your precious time is what we understand by gossiping. Yeah, they benefit. Gossipers benefit each other. What a good news you told me. I'm going to go there tomorrow. They benefit each other. I think the best way is benefit in terms of growing better in your... Yes, it's good. Growing, benefit in the sense of growing in compassion and wisdom. If your whatever the conversations really help to grow in those two, they are beneficial. But in their own ways, they benefit each other. Gossipers benefit from another gossip. I mean, that's... Yes. Yes, ma'am. Sometimes, I don't think not everybody has that. But some people are unwillingly, inadvertently get caught up in other people's conversation. Sometimes they think it's not nice to go walk away. But you can walk away in a nice way. Politely, you can walk away. Maybe avoid those conversations. And if you are in a conversation, when I said this in the sutta discussion, somebody said, Bhante, I'm alone. My children are not with me anymore. So I go to the nearby coffee shop. So I have people to talk to me. So why not? I said, yes, it's good. Because you are alone, so you need some socialization. But make sure that nothing is bringing you to thoughts of lobha dosa moha, unnecessary lobha dosa moha. Okay, so if another way to understand an unwise person is bad speech. Always lying, always so partially lying, always so partially talking behind the back, always so partially hurting other people, and always so partially maybe full-time and part-time gossipers.
How
right?
about gossiping about
No, gossiping includes all the non-virtuous conversations, inclusive of.
Because they are not doing drama.
Well, somebody might say, I want this country to do better than other countries. It's my country. I have some chauvinism, I have some patriotism. But I'm not just engaging in the trashy rubbish of the politicians did. Rather than thinking, may this country become a better place for our younger generation, the small ones.
Maybe the past PM and the present PM.
Yeah. Not to create anger in others. Normally, when people talk about politics, they don't talk about the fundamentals of politics. They talk about the people. This guy, that guy. So then the evil slowly comes up. Talk about the fundamentals of democracy, politics. So, bad thinking, bad speech, and then bad actions. You can understand an unwise person. If that person is always trying to hurt other people physically, bully other people, then kill other beings, and then steal, take what is not given, and misbehave. This is the only yardstick in which how you understand an unwise person. Not in your own yardstick to say, this guy is a foolish guy, stupid guy, uncultured, I mean. Better to say unwise in terms of spiritual, bad thinking, bad speech, and bad action. So you are not, today, half an hour ago, we did that wish. Imina punya kammena, by this merit, ma no, me to me, bala means unwise, samagam means association, company. And then, satang samagamo hotu, satang. Then samagamo hotu. Satam means wise people. Wise people. Satam means wise. Satang samagamo hotu. Yes.
What about greedy person? Also considered foolish.
Greedy?
Greedy?
Yeah.
With ill will as well.
Yeah, the first thought, there are 3 bad thoughts whereby you understand an unwise person. The first thought is greed. Second is ill will. So, part of. They are included.
Not just the musabada, the speech and the gossip.
Yeah. Some people are manifesting the vocal part and the physical part. Some people are not you have to understand them for a long time. But you know that they are thinking very evil thoughts, ill will, and they are greedy people. Yeah.
Greed in the sense that they are not generous. They are basically not a giver. They are taker. So they
Yeah.
consider foolish.
It might be. But the thing is that we don't know the actual thoughts of them. So it's not good to think like that because we don't know other people's thoughts. Unless you see what they are doing exactly through those thoughts. Not giving, yeah. So, satang samagamo hotu, yava nibbana pat. Ya means until, yava, as long as. Nibbana means nibbana. As long as I attain nibbana, may I be in the company of the satang, not the bala. Alright? This is such a very great aspiration. So, this aspiration, can we do in 365 days? Can we do this in 365 days?
Okay.
Can we make a Kalyana Mitta in 1 year? Maybe yes, maybe not. Because your character also affects. Sometimes your character has to change. Why is it? There are a lot of people saying, Bhante, we want to do more good karma. So we do dana. Good. But I asked him, do you know that the Buddha said that there are many karmas that are covered somewhere, you have to let them come to you? How come? Yes, each of us has done lot of good karmas that are stored, that are not really coming to us, flowing to us. Why? Because we are not thinking big, our attitude is not changed. So those karmas are not helping us to lot of good karmas in past life. So, in the face of New Year, now today, on the New Year, the 1st of January, what I am asking is that make an aspiration. This could be a very hard aspiration, but possible, we must do it. At the same time, always be grateful to your human birth and your sustenance. That means, as you said, appreciating what we have, the people who are giving us, right? And at the same time, we have to be concerned about other people also, whether we can do something to them. Appreciating and being grateful to the Dhamma propagation, right? And grateful to this center, right? Disseminating Dhamma. At the same time, grateful to the Buddha. Without the Buddha, we would have not learned anything out of it. So I think this is a great aspiration by making this is the most important aspiration in our life, because in case we find a Papa Mitta, our whole life will be going on a slippery slope. How do I say so? One day, Bhante Anand told the Buddha this, Venerable Sir, I think our spiritual journey, your journey, his journey, unenlightened people's journey, is dependent upon Kalyana Mittata for a ratio of 50%. 50% of our journey, our Dhamma journey, you all have a journey, reading books, going to retreats, learning Dhamma, giving dana, that journey. Bhante Anand said, Ante, I think 50% of this journey is dependent upon Kalyana Mittas, the wise people. The Buddha said, no, 100%. 100% is, that means if you are self-inspired, self-motivated, that is not enough. You might read books, you might secretly reading books, learning Dhamma, but it's not really coming to your practice. Why? You may not have the wise people. Wise people are very important. I mean, Kalyana Mittas. Those who can teach you the Dhamma, those who can practice together, they are very, very important. With them, you can smoothly, you can seamlessly journey on this Dhamma path. So, keep this as the most important aspiration. It might take time, but be grateful to these 4 aspects. So, when you are grateful to this aspect, you are grateful to your mother, father, everybody. They are the ones who nurtured you, and other people around you, spouse, children, everybody. So I think this recaps everything in your life. All right, any questions? But how to do it? Other problem is how to do it. Now you know the thing. Every time, as you said, make it a teaching moment. Whenever some angry thoughts, negativities come out, always think about, I am a blessed person. I have to be grateful to these aspects. So I got this human life with so much difficulties, so I have to be grateful. I should not mess this up. Every time, reflect. When you reflect, negativity will go away. It will run out from you. That is the only. But sadly, today you will have it. It's the 1st of January, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, when you go to work, you might probably forget about it. Because it's not the 1st of January anymore. So keep this continuously, seamlessly. Keep the fluidity, consistency. Some people practice very good Dhamma on a day, 2 day, 3 day, but they don't have a consistent practice. Please be consistent. Right? Otherwise, you are not going to get any benefit out of the practice. All right? Any questions? We will take probably 2-3 minutes, and then we will transfer the good karmas. Yes.
You said to associate with the wise, right?
Yes.
So do we seek the wise, or does the wise, do we gravitate to each other, or do we have to seek out?
It depends. It depends. Now, sometimes you may have to find them actually. Sometimes they may be always with you, already with you. So let's say you already have some Kalyana Mittas down the line, you're going to improve, maintain them. How many Kalyana Mittas did the Buddha ask us to have? There's a number. In one sutta, Buddha said we should have at least 2 Kalyana Mittas. And the Buddha said everyone has 1 Kalyana Mitta already. Who is that? Huh? The Buddha says to us, every being in this world has 1 Kalyana Mitta already, if they want to understand. Samma Sambuddha. The second one you have to find out, maybe you already have it. If somebody can think about in their own life, they may already have very good Kalyana Mittas. If you don't have, you have to seek out. How can you seek out? Can you know in one day? Takes time. That's why I said this might be an open-ended journey, It is not their problem, the Kalyana Mitra's problem. It is the person's problem. They don't know how to approach Kalyana Mitras. They might say, he's not my type. It's not my cup of tea. Then you have to find that cup of tea. Right? Because how are you going to pair, synchronize with the Kalyana Mitras? Maybe there are certain things that the Kalyana Mitras don't like in you. Probably you might adapt a little bit. Not the whole thing. So you can be, if you are with Papa Mitras all the time, then how do you have to approach the Kalyana Mitras? You may have already. If you don't have, it might take time to have that synchronization with Kalyana Mitras. At the same time, do not hate anybody. That is also against Buddhism. Because we have to practice metta to everyone. We cannot say to someone, I don't like you because you are not this and that. Because we should have the metta to everyone, but we don't make the intimacy to all of them. Definitely. Intimacy in the sense of that close connection to our Dhamma path. So protect this.
Nowadays there are so many gurus and spiritual teachers all over. How do you decide whether they are suitable for your Kalyana?
Better to read some of the original teachings of the Buddha. Then you will understand the basics. Now, a lot of people, they don't read. They only rely on a certain teacher. And then they get hooked on that thinking, So they don't know what, they are just blindly following whatever is happening. So you read some of the important suttas, at least 2-3 suttas. Then you know the basics. Then you have the launch pad, whether what they are saying is okay or not, at least to get a sense of what it is. But if you haven't done your reading, you simply browse the YouTube videos, simply keep going to talks, you might be in a problem. So read some basics, true Buddhist suttas, couple suttas, at least 2-3. Then you will know whether what they are saying is actually making sense out of what I read. Because we already have a very good support from the text. At the same time, when you read, be careful. The translations can be giving you a very hard time. Not a hard time to you in the sense of reading. The bad translations. You cannot do it with a dictionary also. You might not be able to do by going to a Pali class. Because you want to learn Dhamma. Otherwise, you don't need to learn Pali language. So, better to learn under a good teacher about certain important suttas that will give you the sense of what we need to focus on. All right, any more questions about gratitude today?
Any translation would be like Bhikkhu Bodhis?
Yeah, Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations are better than most of the translations. But still, let me show you something very interesting. You will understand what it is. All right. Now, if you really want to understand the Dhamma, you should be able to think in Pali. One day, not today. What is this? How to think in Pali? I don't know Pali. One day the goal should be, another aspiration, third aspiration today, is that think in Pali. Why do I say so? Now, if you take one sutta, Mahamangala Sutta, Evang me sutang ekang samayang. Evang me sutang ekang samayang. What is samayang? Samayang. I am asking the meaning of samayang, English meaning. Evang me sutang. Evang thus me, by me. Sutang heard. Ekang one. Then samayang.
Recall?
Ah?
Recall.
No. Samaya means time. Once upon a time. Like a story, yeah? Once upon a time. Ekang Samaya. Let me tell you, this Pali word Samaya has 9 meanings. Now, you might find a dictionary. The Pali Text Society dictionary, there are many dictionaries. How do you know that this Samaya is exactly that meaning? How do you know? Only an expert knows. Only a scholar knows who has a practice too. That's why I'm telling you, till you think in Pali one day, translations are going to give you a hard time. And you might not think it's a hard time. It is a hard time. Because you might misunderstand the text. There are so many meanings attached to one Pali word. So how do you know that in this suttas, this particular Pali word means this particular context? Only somebody has a good wide reading knows that. Otherwise, you will go check, look it up on a dictionary. Okay, Samaya means this. Okay, I know. Then you are going to argue with somebody. You are going to discuss with somebody. Perhaps you're going to give a talk, and everybody will be deluded. Yeah, right now, yeah, Samaya. Huh? And they're going to write something on the blogs. Lot of misinformation. Like something you share on your Facebook. Huh? You don't know what you share. Musawada, isn't it? Somebody says that this particular herb has this importance. And you just share it. People who trust you also follow you. Also share it. But maybe misinformation. So according to today's world, this is modern way of doing musawada. If you don't know, then don't do that. Because little knowledge is always dangerous. Especially little knowledge about Dhamma is very dangerous. Because people are very, very vulnerable to Dhamma. When they come, they eagerly want to catch up things. So, this should be the plan one day. Because both these translations are better than all these translations, but still there are Pali issues because he comes from a Western background. In order because Pali, Sanskrit, Sinhala, they are more similar. And Pali has no letters, you know that? Pali language has no letters, only sounds. So we write in Thai, we write in Burmese, we write in Sinhalese, no letters. Sanskrit has letters. These are, come from the devas, gods. But Pali does not have. Then it's very important to understand. So, better to learn the Pali relevant to the text. You don't need to go to a Pali class. Because Pali class is Pali language. It takes you many years to become proficient. And they will teach you. Vanaro rukkhamha patati. The monkey fell down from the tree, you know. you want to learn Buddha's Pali, not the monkey fell down from the tree. You learn this language. So better to learn exact Pali about exact suttas. Don't waste your time. Do you have time to learn all these? I don't think. Right? So you have a very limited time. You have lots of chores in your household. You have lots of things in your families. So you want to make use of your precious short time in the best way. So I'm telling you, try to learn the required Pali for the sutta reading, not Pali as a language. Good for the scholars, good for the undergrads. All right, so I think we are almost. So we are now going to reflect upon the good karmas we've been doing today, although we have a few other good karmas over there. May the Dhamma talk we shared today about gratitude, especially understanding, practicing gratitude on the 1st of January. We discuss about it in the ways of the Pali stanza, this Pali stanza 182. So we can find out where and how we can be grateful to our life in many ways. So please reflect upon, find out these areas. At the same time, if you ask me how to do it, this is the way. Each time be thankful to your good karmas, to the things you have. Every time, whenever bad thoughts come to you, also bad thoughts cannot take you over because you are bringing, you are maintaining, you are deepening very grateful thoughts. I would add another word. Normally you hear wholesome thoughts, wholesome thoughts. I would say grateful, wholesome thoughts. Normally you have ungrateful kusala thoughts. So grateful kusala thoughts, right? And the Pali word for, I would write that too. The Pali word for gratitude is, what is the Pali word for the gratitude? Huh? Katanyuta. Katanyuta. That should be known. Katanyuta. Kata means done. Whatever the things done for me or for yourself. New means no. You know what has happened. You know who helped you. Right? And then ta means the state of this position. Gratitude means you know very well how people help you, what they did for you. Unfortunately, a lot of people only know what the bad things other people did to them. So they don't have katanyuta. They take katanyuta in the form of negative ways. But we have to always bring back what these people did for me in the good ways, not the bad ways. We are human beings. We may have some human errors, right? So we have to be always able to think about the good side, what this person did to me. So may today's Dhamma talk be a light on finding gratitude not only for today, for this new year, for the whole year. May you be always well and happy. May all the good karmas be transferred to departed ones and shared by devas. And finally, may all the good karmas we've been creating today, even after this, by offering dana, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachayino chattaru dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarugya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atho nibbana sampatti iminati saminchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right, the Dhamma talk is over now. We are able to go for the dana. Yes.
Before that, can we bow a few times to pay our respect and thanks to the Bhante? And I'd like to call upon Brother Wong to make an offering from Brother Wong Kimwa and family to requisites to offer to Bhante. Yeah. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So for those who wants to make a small donation, there's an ang pao here and you can place it in the basket for Bhante. So without further ado, we would like to invite Bhante to the back for our